So first of all, we're all gathered here today because all of you are resource providers, right? And resource providers, in particular to SourceLink. SourceLink is an interesting tool that we've developed over the years and hopefully will continue to develop. For those, most people are familiar with SourceLink? Yeah. Oh, that's good. Very good. So over the last couple of years, we've actually been building this tool so that, this is going to be interesting, building this tool so that we can create a one place that small businesses can come to and find information, find all of you who are providing the resources to the city, to small businesses, to the business community, so that we can have and build a well-heeled, developed ecosystem that can help small businesses. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you somebody who gets it about business, about growing business in Baltimore, about making sure that the resources are available to small business in Baltimore, and that is our mayor, who is a fantastic advocate for my office. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. First, let me just say welcome, and I really do hope that you all take advantage of SourceLink, because this is an opportunity for you all to be able to connect to different opportunities in the city. And one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is really looking at how are we making sure that our small business, our minority and African American owned businesses get access to opportunities in the city. What I found just in my short period of time of being here is that we have a tendency in the city to continue to renew contracts. We have this automatic renewal process. Contracts have been in place for 5-7 years, and it just doesn't make sense to me, because if you know anything about the marketplace changes year to year to year. So the question becomes, how do you know that you're getting your best value? And you don't know if you're getting your best value if you're on a constant automatic renewal of contracts. I've seen contracts as long as 7 years just stay in place. Makes no sense to me. And then, they automatically, after they've been in place for so long, they incur their own additional expense, and then again, you don't know if you're really competitive in the marketplace. So we've got some great opportunities here, some great folks who are here, and the SourceLink process is an opportunity for you all to be connected. And so I'm really grateful to this office, led by Paul Taylor, who really understands how important it is for us to expand the pool. And when you're in a city that is made up, as our city is, 67% African American, and then other minorities are here as well. Women are a small minority in terms of who's doing business with the city. That too is an issue for us. And so how we expand our pool, and not at the expense of any one particular culture, but making sure that we're inclusive and diverse. If the city's not inclusive and diverse, then what we know is that we're not growing wealth in our own city. And so that becomes a real problem for the city. We lack investment in neighborhoods and communities. I tell people, don't call neighborhoods poor, let's just call them underinvested, because we've underinvested in so many neighborhoods for decades. And you can see it. You see it when you ride down Druid Hill Avenue, you see it when you ride down Monroe Street, you see it coming across Baltimore Street, where there used to be storefront businesses that don't operate there anymore. And then the other thing that I'm looking at, and this is really important, because I tell folks that violence reduction is my #1 priority, because to do business in a city, you want to be safe. To live in a city, you want to be safe. And there's an article in the paper today talking about how violence is trending in the right direction. We've been reducing violence now since November in Baltimore, and it's going down every single month. But the reality is that we do have some businesses that operate not in the best interest of the community. And so I'm looking at how do we make sure that what we're allowing to operate in our city is in our best interest. We know, for example, if you go up and down Pennsylvania Avenue, that we have some stores that should just not be operating. Just should not be operating, because they don't operate in the best interest of our city. And what we've done is we've been able to cross-link what exists in those particular neighborhoods with the violence increase in various neighborhoods and communities. So that's also going to be our focus. And so we want to make sure that we're bringing quality businesses to our neighborhoods and to our communities. And again, that our businesses are representative of the communities in which they serve. So I'm excited about SourceLink because it'll give you an opportunity to look at all of that which exists in the city and then to link you to resources. We've got a network of opportunities as it relates to providing additional monies for people to expand and grow their businesses, looking at Main Street corridors and how we can make those more inclusive, more diverse, and create opportunities in our own city. I tell folks, in a city that has so much talent, such as Baltimore, why aren't we looking at businesses that exist in certain parts of the city? Like there's a great, I call it a shake. They make those healthy shakes on Pennsylvania Avenue, inside of the market. Why aren't they in other areas across the city? I go over to Hamden, and they've got these eclectic little stores, and then you go in other parts of the city, and they've got these wonderful little coffee shops. Instead of us looking at, why aren't we looking at how do we expand those into our own communities and give opportunities to the people who live here, the people who are growing their businesses here, and the people who are dedicated to being part of Baltimore. So I'm very excited about these opportunities, and as I say to our purchasing department, more importantly, when you're looking at, contracts for restaurants, so where we're feeding people or where we're buying supplies, let's look inside of our own neighborhoods, let's look inside of our own communities. It's not just about bringing people to our city and having them set up shop. Let's look at what we have here and create those opportunities for the people who are here, expand them while we expand our city and grow our population. So thank you all for being here. SourceLink is going to be a resource for small business in our city, and I hope you take full advantage of it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all this morning.
You hear that all of this is interconnected. This is a giant web, and we try to make it illuminated with the resources that you see here. So what we have gathered you here today to do is to take a look at SourceLink, take a look at the way it can be used, and hopefully we'll see a more active use of it. We have a Google Analytics on the back of this, and we see that there's about between 150 to 250 actual viewings every day, and people are staying on average about 5 minutes doing searches. You've heard two ladies get up and talk about they're in the permit office. Well, actually, when we look at the Google Analytics in the background here, we actually see that there are more searches for permits than anything else. And secondly, they go searching for funding. You're going to hear about some of the things that Naomi Shea, who's going to lead us through the rest of this. So Naomi, come on up and guide us through how SourceLink works, and then hopefully on your table there are some questionnaires that we'd like to have you as a group just sort of look at some questions that you may have about SourceLink and write them down so that we can, at the end, go through some questions. Naomi, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Naomi Shea. I'm the manager of SourceLink Partner Development. And I invited you all here today so that you could learn a little bit more about SourceLink. A lot of people aren't necessarily, some of you or a lot of you have been on the site, but there are a few of you in the room that probably have no idea what SourceLink is about. So I would like to play a video for you from the creator of SourceLink, just so that you can have some background and understand why we're here today and why we brought you here.
My name is Maria Myers, and I founded Casey SourceLink. Casey SourceLink connects together a network of small business development support organizations in the Kansas City region. Our mission is simple: get the entrepreneur to the right resource at the right time. And we know that resources cluster around the kind of entrepreneur you have, and our resources tend to cluster around 4 types. We have the innovation-led cluster, your biotechs, your high-tech groups. You often find your serial entrepreneurs there. And there's a whole set of resources that support that kind of environment. Some of our high-tech incubators, our wet lab incubators, our angel groups, our university researchers, you'll find them all hanging around in that cluster. On the opposite end, We have our microenterprise cluster. These are people who are starting businesses to create additional personal income. And there's a whole set of resources available to that group as well. Our micro-lending programs throughout the community that support business growth for people who need additional education in starting a business or some additional financing. Then we have our Main Streeters. People that have employees and are along the main streets of our communities all across America. There are doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, independent retailers, restaurants that are making our neighborhoods vibrant. They hire people, they give back to their communities. The owner is investing as much time and energy as they care to, and they're not going to grow too much. Then we have what we call our second stage companies. Second stage companies are established companies who have maybe 10 to 99 employees, and they've got owners who are just raring to take this company to the next level, which is really, how do I find my next market? So what's the magic, right? It's really a combination of market, the perseverance of the entrepreneur themselves, and the ability to take advantage of the opportunity in the market. So the best that you can do is provide every resource possible to them to help make them successful. And those that hit the market at the right time with the right opportunity will move forward very rapidly. But those that hit a smaller market can also have a wonderful lifestyle, and we need to support that too.
So what you just saw was the reason why it's important to have a tool like SourceLink here in Baltimore. So one of the, we're not going to do that again. I like it, but you all might chase me out of the room. So what's important about SourceLink is that all of those resources exist in Baltimore City. We know that they exist in Baltimore City, but too often small businesses accidentally bump into them because there's no clear path to where they are. And so the reason why we built SourceLink for Baltimore is because we think we can build a better ecosystem if companies can get to those resources quickly and they can find those resources in one place. They can, a lot of times, the entrepreneurs are working all day in their shop, and at the 16th hour, now they have to find out something about permits. And they can't find it because the permit office is closed by then. So we want to make sure that they can find those resources at any time, 24/7, on their tablet, on their phones, or on their desktop computers. So SourceLink provides that resource for all of our entrepreneurs. So what you're going to see today, and this is what's most important about what we want you to get out of today, is how easy it is for you as a resource provider to actually create and operate your own profile page. Most of you actually have a profile page on there. And so what Naomi's going to lead you through today is sort of how you can add events to calendars. You can actually suggest things. You can talk about programs that are coming up, all on your own profile page, and she'll show you a little bit about how to navigate SourceLink. So Naomi, it's all yours.
Thank you, Paul. So one of the things that Paul said, which is extremely important, is that each one of you has the capability of managing your own page. Now, a lot of people think, oh, that's probably a lot of work. I don't have anyone designated to do that. Honestly, it really just takes a few minutes of your time. Most of you will have your own login information. You will have a username and password where you can go into the site and sign in at the bottom of the page. And I'm going to show you. Oops. Well, we're logged in currently, but there's a sign-in at the bottom of the page where you sign into it, and you can create events. And I'm going to go to the calendar, which is an extremely useful tool for SourceLink. If you click on the drop-down once you're signed in, it gives you the main calendar, but it also allows you to create an event. And then you would pick your provider name. You would put in the event title, location, all of the information. date and time, put a brief description. You can put pictures on the site, also contact information, and there's a place for you to put a hyperlink if you want to RSVP. All of that will show up on your individual page once you create an event. I'm going to go to the calendar and show you an example of one of our pages. So we have an event for the Chamber of Commerce, I think. Oh, the State of the Downtown Breakfast hosted by the Downtown Partnership. If you double click on this, it takes you to the page. They've uploaded a picture of their guest speaker. You can add this to your calendar if you click on it. You can register for the event. If you click on that, it takes you to the link to register to the event. It even gives directions and contact information. You can post this information on Facebook. We can post that information on our Facebook page so that you can get more views that way. We found that on the site there are a lot of reasons why people are looking at our page. And the majority of the reason that we found is because they're looking for permits and other resources to help them begin their business. The permits process we've put on under Baltimore Resources, and we've have a tab for licenses and permits. And now that the permits process, you no longer have to go down to the offices to file. A lot of the, for example, the Department of Assessment and Taxation takes you directly to their site. You can contact the organization directly on the page. You can go to their website, and we highlighted this on our front page, the Maryland Business Express. And on here it'll tell you how to search and find for permits online. So it's an extremely, extremely useful tool. One thing that we're really trying to do is get you more involved. You have the opportunity to not just post events and calendar events that are coming up, but if you have a new loan program, if you have a new opportunity for small businesses, if you offer classes, if you offer any type of resources, you can post these things to the calendar. You can write a blog post about them and upload them onto to your page. And we're only as good as you are. So if your page is very robust, has a lot of information, if you stay in regular contact with me, if you say, hey, we really want you to highlight this event and push this for us, we can re-blast it, we can repost it on our Facebook, we can let people know about it on our page, as well as whatever you're doing on your page. One of the interesting things that we've done when we worked with purchasing, a lot of people are looking to find different procurement opportunities, and that's huge for businesses in the city that don't know where to go to look for that information. So we have a purchasing tab, and one of our top resource partner is our Baltimore City Buys. And the reason why I'm highlighting them is because it shows, they give a lot of information on this site about different opportunities that are coming up for bids in the city. The reason why I want to show you this is because we've talked to Aaron, who's here today, who has on their website, if you click on their live page, they have listed us as an important link on their page. So if someone happens to visit the City Buys page, they can also find SourceLink on their page, click on it, and it'll link them back to our page. Now, some of you might not have that capability, but it also helps with site views. It helps people to see that, you know, we get certain people that only look at our page. You might have people that only look at your page, but it allows that bounce back and lets people be able to find other resources. They may say, hey, okay, well, I see here that you have funding opportunities, or you have, you know, other resource opportunities on here, and it just gets more viewed. Another important tool that I would like to highlight on the page is that we offer a lot of different information to new businesses and new people starting out that don't even know the process of what they have to do when they building a business. So for example, under Baltimore Resources, we have business guides. So if you want to open a restaurant, you click on that, and it gives you a step-by-step process of what to expect and the types of things that you're going to have to apply for if you're trying to open a restaurant in Baltimore. This is a very beneficial tool. Some of you do direct counseling to individuals that come in that don't know where to begin, that don't know where to start. And we want you to start letting people know that SourceLink has a lot of this information on here. The Small Business Resource Center often puts their classes and their class schedules on here. I also work with the Enoch Pratt Library. They also offer classes that we put on the calendar, and we post different events on the calendar. And each one of you has that exact same opportunity to do the same thing for your page and to manage your page effectively. Another really important thing that we've done on the site is to highlight the funding page and the funding tab. A lot of businesses are looking for financing opportunities, and some of you in the room know how difficult it is for small businesses to be able to find financing opportunities. We have pulled the funding tab out from underneath our resources section because we found that that was one of the more important resources that small businesses were looking for. And we give a breakdown of the fundamentals of financing. How much do I need to start? We have an estimating startup costs. We have an online cost calculator that can take you directly to that page. So it gives businesses who have nowhere to begin a basis for where to start. And in conjunction with that, under the funding tab, we've listed the different types of funding so that businesses can self-identify. For example, if someone is looking for crowdfunding opportunities, we have a definition of what crowdfunding is, and then beneath it, with our resource partners, we have two that we've identified as crowdfunders that they can click on and go directly to their page for more information. I really want to stress to you the importance of managing your own page. It is extremely important. It's really not as much work as people think that it is, but the more you put on there and the more that you utilize the site, the more views you're going to get and the more people it's going to help. One of the questions that we're asking you today is, who is not in the room with us? Who do you think really could be a really good resource that we could add to our site to build it? Currently, we have on our homepage, we have 117 resource providers that are enabled on the site. We have more resource partners, but for some reason, either their information is incomplete, they didn't provide the proper information. We have to vet these people before we allow them on our site. So currently we have 117 resource providers, but we're looking for a lot more. I know there are in the city. We are one of the smaller sites for SourceLink. SourceLink is normally, was initiated in Kansas City, and it was done for the whole state. So the other SourceLink sites that have been around a lot longer have a lot more resource partners, but we're focusing on Baltimore. That is our focus, but we would really like it if we can expand it as much as possible. Does anyone have any questions?
So when you say expand beyond Baltimore, Howard County,
Yes.
Montgomery?
So we have other resources on here. We have state resources. Anything that is within the state of Maryland, we would like them to be on here. We're not looking for profit companies. We want people that are not-for-profit that are on here basically as tools to help businesses grow without looking for ways to make money themselves. Even though banks, we have a bank program on here, the loan is geared towards low income. They're not on here to make a profit. They're here to talk about this particular program that can help challenged businesses gain access to capital. Does anyone have any additional questions? I think Paul was going to talk about the Facebook portion and the Twitter portion. We are actually trying to build our site so that we can have more access to people. And he's going to talk about how we're going to do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Excuse me, just one other question.
Yeah.
What about a company a development company that received a large subsidy or tip from the city, and they were reaching out to minority businesses or city residents or workforce development opportunities and so forth?
And so it's been important. Typically, we haven't been putting for-profit entities on there only because we just didn't want this to become just another marketing arm. We really wanted to focus on these resources, providing resources to Baltimore City residents and Baltimore City companies. So we're to that question, I think if we look at that case by case, but I think if they were really genuinely looking at ways to expand business opportunities for small business, looking at opportunities to create jobs, we would definitely engage them in putting their site up on here. Because, for instance, one of the larger ones that's doing some work in Baltimore, they have been very active in trying to engage Baltimore residents and Baltimore small businesses, so we would definitely look at that as an opportunity to put that on here.
And we've also put some of their outreach events on our calendar so that
Yep.
people actually do know that they are looking for minority companies or women-owned companies, so that they know that they can link through our calendar to attend those types of events.
And so what Naomi was mentioning is that this is very clearly tied to Facebook, Twitter, and some of the other resources, and tied to your Twitter. So you can actually, from your own page, link right to your Twitter account or your Facebook account, and actually get people to know about your product or your services that you're providing. So we've made sure that is on there, and there's actually a link for us. So there's what you see today is the sort of the public face of SourceLink. And actually behind SourceLink, there are a couple other things going on. One of them is a resource manager, which is what Naomi uses to manage all of the resource providers that's in the background. But in addition to that, my staff use a CRM that is behind us called BizTracker. So for every client interaction that we have, they're actually capturing that data, capturing their interactions, capturing baseline information about those companies, and actually helping to sort of manage where are these companies going, what resources are they using, how are they getting to those resources, can we help them with some other resources, and it's not just one person in the office that is looking at them. If they call again and they're talking to somebody else, the other staff person can look and say, oh yeah, we just did this with that person, so they can know where to take them as we're working with them. So there are three modules to this. One is the SourceLink that you see here. The other one is the Resource Navigator, which is what Naomi uses to help manage all of the resource providers and make sure that they have up-to-date information. And then the other is a client interaction profile page that we actually manage all of the clients that we manage at SourceLink. It's been very, very active. I'm trying to get my staff to use it more and more every day, because I have to keep reminding everybody, but it's very important to do that. So hopefully what you've seen here today is sort of this whole idea that this program is designed to help us manage our resource providers, manage the ecosystem that we think we're building here in Baltimore. As we said, I truly believe there are other resources that are around the table. We hear about things every day. We'd like to know if so the sheets that you have on the table are sheets that we're asking you to, if you think of another organization, another program that should be on here, to jot it down, put that information on here. Again, we're not looking to put people's marketing efforts here, but this is really to connect the dots You can look at this and communicate with any of the other resources that are on the resource on SourceLink. You can find other people. You can lead your clients to other resources that might be here to help them to grow their business. So, with that, I just want to open it up for questions again. If you have any questions about the types of resources that are on here, the resources that are maybe missing from here, that we think should be on here. Again, this is really in an effort to really build a better and stronger ecosystem in Baltimore City that can support our small business community. There are some organizations, there's some industries that are pretty well supported, and they know each other and they know all about each other, as the video said, but other organizations may not know about them. We want to make sure those are connected. So the tech community, for instance, Deb just left the room, but Deb knows how to connect all those dots. That's not always relevant for the permit office, for instance. As the permit office, who knows where the permits are? Well, I know 2 people do. So anyway, any questions for us? Yes.
Question. I know that the state has been concerned, as we are, especially leading TICO, with supporting more minority businesses, and launched a pre-seed program that was offering $40,000 and got 400 applications in less than a year, and have only been able to fund a small subset of those. And so I've asked the question of them, what are they doing with the other 390, which I suspect have a significant number in Baltimore City? And are you connecting with them so that we have a pipeline of support for those entrepreneurs at those various stages of development?
Yeah, so I'm sure Sean just took some notes, but yeah, there are resources that are looking to talk to them and look in particular the new loan fund that Sean just launched last week, Baltimore Business Lending, are looking at other programs that may have organizations or companies that weren't able to work successful getting loans, and they're looking at those as opportunities to go after those folks also, especially since some of the requirements we're still looking for qualified businesses, but the requirements may not be as stringent as some of the other programs. So we hope that there is an opportunity to cross-collaborate with all of the different programs around. So, you know, if you look at their funding tab, for instance, there are a significant amount of loan programs and we tried to list all the different types of loans and populate them with organizations that are providing them. So for microloans, for instance, and BBL may not be on here yet, but it's going to be soon. We do an explanation, but then we also list and link you to some of those other organizations that are out there that can provide resources. So hopefully, you know, if somebody's rejected, they can say, you know what, take a look at this tab, and maybe there's some other loan products that you could take a look at. So we want to make sure that those connections continue to happen. I saw one other hand. Is that Jackie? Yeah.
Hi. So I know we're on there and there's a lot of companies on there. Is the ask today that we, in terms of like reaching out for companies to find this, is it grassroots? Are you looking for us to kind of amplify this through our networks? Or do you guys have a rollout plan to Baltimore City residents that you guys are also working on that we can potentially?
Yeah. So the ask today is primarily one important thing is that we want more activity from you, the providers, to populate your pages, right? Because your pages have really good information on there, and it links back to your website, and we want to have people to be actively engaged in putting on there. In addition to that, we want people actively engaged in putting your calendar events on there. So if you're having classes, if you're having seminars, if you're having webinars, if you're having different programs, that you will also put those items on your profile page, because your profile page can be a really active, engaged page. So part of what Naomi is going to be spending this next couple of months doing is really to roll this out and make it available, come to your shop, but also talk to different organizations about the different things that are the resources that are on here and make sure that the public knows how to get access to them. We're starting to push this out to the public sphere using our Facebook and Twitter pages more actively. But in addition to that, we're also making sure that the information that's on there is live, it's relevant, and it's updated. Yeah. So if I had to ask for anything today, I want everybody to visit their page. If you don't know your login number, and what we've also found is that people who have moved on, changed to another job or whatever, their name and information is still up there. So we're going through the process now, really connecting with all of you to make sure that your information is active on the site. So if you're getting calls from Naomi, it's not because she's trying to sell you anything, right? Because everybody keeps thinking she's trying to sell people stuff. But she's really trying to get get the right person to put their profile information on this site so that we can have a more active, engaged event.
And once you do that, your page is actually good to go. All we want is additional information. If there's something new that you want to highlight, like I showed before on the home page, we have the Light City event. So that was sent to us that we wanted to highlight and let people know that there were all these different events going on. There's a link, all you have to do is double click the page and it takes you right back. We can feature you. You can write a blog about any new programs, like that new loan program that's available. I would love to feature that. That would be wonderful for people to see. We have also blasted to city employees out that we are up and running and what SourceLink is, a page explaining what it is, so that our city employees who often get calls about where to direct people and where to direct people looking to start up businesses, they have that information that they can use this as a tool to let people know that it's out there. And we do hope that there's some cross collaboration between you, and if you know that there is something, a useful tool, or to let us know that there's another entity out there that could be of service to this page, I would love to know it. And if you don't have your login information and you need that, please email me, give me a call. I'll be happy to walk you through the process and even explain how to make changes to your page if you have any questions as far as that's concerned. I would like for you to take a few minutes to try to complete the survey. I'd like to collect those before you leave today. And are there any more additional questions about, yes?
I represent a lot of minority businesses, women and minority-owned contractors. Construction. One of the biggest needs that they have is human resources. And the biggest is estimators and project managers. And this would be an excellent way for them to be able to post that they have a need for those types of professionals, and hopefully that they could get some response. I mean, we advertise for those folks on our site, but this is so much bigger, so much wider. Cast a wide net, and this could be really a helpful tool for those businesses.
So there's a link up here that says contact us, and one of the things that we would hope happens is that when you contact us, it actually posts a question to us. It directly comes to someone, and then we can begin doing some work around that. If it means that we have to talk to MOED and talk to them about where those resources might be available, or we can actually make the referral through this system that will begin to show us if people are getting the answers, what kinds of needs they have. We had a post here when we first opened it up for engineers and engineering companies, and we were able to go to the city's list of pre-qualified engineers and be able to push that out to some folk who were asking that question. So there may be a question. So estimators, which I do realize is a huge one. We get a lot of questions about how people can find those kind of resources, and those are the kinds of things that we would send back to Mackenzie's shop, and Mackenzie would be able to figure out whether there's a way to post and to collect that information.
it would drive a lot of people too, because I would say,
Yeah.
go see, it's new to me,
Yeah.
but I would say, go see the ball.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right. So it sounds like people have, either we've done a good job or you don't know what the heck we're talking about, right?
I hope we've done a good job.
If you would, just please fill out the information, and then you can, you'll be able to get out early and start your day. We're excited because out of this SourceLink, we're starting some new relationships and partnerships, and we hope to continue that. So thank you all very much for coming out. Please fill out the form and eat.
Thank you.
All right.